Good day, folks. This is Great Judy at Green Pastures Farm. We are on the typical Missouri summer. You can almost drink the air. It's hot. And it's going toward the middle of July, and that's what we can expect in Missouri. Everybody talks about it. Oh, this has never seen oppressive heat like this. That's a bunch of crap. I'm 65 years old and it's always been hot in July in Missouri. So, yeah, I'm gonna stop there on that subject. Let's go to talking about something a little bit more positive, and that is this. Look at that. Native warm season, perennial, big bluestem. It's a native warm season grass. It cranks when the summer heat turns on, and your fescues, which are down in there, go dormant. They're not growing now, but look at this stuff. It's cranking. You know, in an ideal world, if I'd have been here, 10 days ago earlier, before all these big stems came out, it'd have been all right. But you know what? I'm gonna get some seeding. I'm gonna get some seed. And of course the wind and the birds are gonna blow that around. And I mean, the side of this hill, folks, it's about 50% right here where I'm standing. It's about 50% big blue. And it's just dominating. It likes hot weather. And when the weather gets hot, big bluestem cranks into gear. And it's a native. It's what covered the prairies thousands of years. This is what the buffalo ate, and we still have it. You can see it on the sides of these hills. It seems like it grows on the sides just about as well as anywhere. We've got some up on top too, but the sides are thicker. There's more of it. Yeah, this is something that will be here. You know, as long as we don't overgraze it, meaning we leave them on here too long and they eat it down into the dirt. Or in the fall, if you graze it too late, like you come in there in September and graze it down to, 2 to 3 inches, you're gonna kill your big bluestem. You're gonna take it out of your farm. But we don't graze like that. We never have, and we never will. There's several different kinds of bluestem. There's the big blue, and here's the little blue. There's a little blue stem down here. So I've got both. I've got big blue and little blue. And that is a plus. That was from the previous landowner, and that was Brian Lease. He took over this farm from Gary Phillips. Gary Phillips bought it from Howard Richards. That's who he named the farm off of. Howard was a dear friend of ours, and every time I go by this place, I just think it's the Howard Richards farm. And in hindsight, Howard probably lived on this farm the longest of anybody. Brian had it a good many years. He took good care of it. Brian had this split into paddocks, so I don't remember exactly how many he had in here, but he had at least 12, I'm pretty sure. Might have been a few more than that. And Brian never grazed it to where he took it all. He always tried to leave plenty of grass behind. And it's a good management practice, and Brian did take care of his soil tests. He was always looking to make sure that he kept things up in that respect. And he brush hogged a lot of this. Now, some of this he didn't, and I don't blame him. You can see down here those huge groups of automata on the side of that steep hill. To him, it wasn't worth turning the tractor over on top of him. And I would agree. But he had the big brush hog. I think he's got a 20-footer. I don't know if it's 20, maybe 18. It was a big one. It's a lot bigger than the one I've got, but he had a bigger tractor, so he could pull these hills. But he was careful. He didn't want to get on a real steep incline and risk getting hurt and damaging equipment. But he normally would brush hog a lot of this. I never saw him put hay up on it, except for the far end up here. There was a big bluestem field up there, and that was where he normally cut some hay off of. And we're headed that way right now, and it's thicker than this. It's about 80, I don't know, it may be higher than that. It's 80 to 85% big blue. So, you know, my hat's off to Brian. I don't know if Brian follows me. I think he does a little bit maybe. But, you know, good job, Brian. This is probably one of the better farms we've ever taken over. Most of our farms are not this good a shape. When we get control of them, most of that is leasing, of course, and Jan and I bought this one. But the developer took hay off of here twice. And you can tell it. I mean, some of the tops of these ridges are still pretty thin. We just had a farm tour yesterday. A group of Amish came in from Kansas. Whole van load of them. And we did Judy Farms first. We went and did the cow-calf, and those Amish, they were sweating walking up through that field. Like, Greg, how'd you get the grass this thick? Well, we had that farm for 21 years. It was Marshall's. You've heard me talk about Marshall's. And then we came over here, and they're like, well, this doesn't look so good. It's thin. I said, well, it's been hayed for 2 years. I said, give me 3 or 4 years of good grazing management. We'll get it back. We'll get it back. And I'll say this farm has a whole lot more warm season grass on it than any of our farms. So I'm tickled about that. It doesn't make good winter stockpile. Okay, the cattle won't eat it. It's about like feeding them straw. But it pays for itself more than double in the summertime. You get up here over this hill. I mean, look at that. This stuff's just everywhere. If you watch the cows, or not the cows, but the bulls, they're over there. The bulls and the steers, they're going after that big blue. I don't blame them. It's tender. Very tender. So it's heating up. I came over this morning and I'll show you what we got over there on another video. I am not a fan of the Hudson valves on water tanks, and I don't know how Brian did it, but he must have rebuilt them a lot or something. I don't know, but everyone that was on this farm, even on the bull farms, see, Brian owned the bull farm too. He sold that to Joanna and Doug, and there was a Hudson valve on that farm. Darn thing. First week we used it, overflowing, and this morning I came over here and it wasn't overflowing yesterday. That's a good reason to check your cows every day if you're on pressure or on a pond. I've got a tank over there. It's not that blue one. It's a great big one over the hill there. It's a steel tank, 800 gallon. That thing's got the biggest mud pit around it this morning. Thankfully Brian had rock around it, but there's a creek flowing off into the nearby creek of water, and it lowered my pond about 4 inches in one night. Because we were over here yesterday, it was not overflowing. I'm gonna make a commitment to myself today that there will never, ever, ever be a Hudson valve on my farms again. And I should have taken it off there. But it worked. It worked from March until July 15th. Or not 15th. July, yeah, today is the 15th. And it failed. It failed. And it failed miserably. When that thing's, whatever, it's got this bladder up inside it. And you can push on, you can take your hand and push up on the bottom of it. It won't stop the flow. When that bladder's boogered up, you're done. You gotta buy a rebuild kit and rebuild the whole thing. I'm not rebuilding it. I'll show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to my old standby, and that's the Filmac. The Filmac float for gravity flow systems is the best. I've got to go back to the house and get it and see if I can get it plumbed into that tank. But no more Hudson valves for me. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here and get that valve fixed. I may show you all what we did or how we fixed it. And I think it'd be good just to keep people from having the same pain that I'm going through. Don't go down that road. But in the meantime, you can see my tracks here. I'm getting ready to put in a strip here by myself. Joel and Isaac are with the cow-calf herd. And Ike got the distinct opportunity to serve on jury duty. And so he had to go in yesterday and he got picked. And it's a long trial. He can't talk about it. And we'll learn more on Friday when he's done. But yeah, he got picked for a 12-man jury. And you know, it is our civic duty as U.S. citizens. You know, if you don't serve on a jury, we can't have trials. And so I've been selected several times to go and screen, but I've never been picked, which doesn't bother me that much. You know, usually there's like, heck, they have like 70, 80 people show up. And I made it to the final round, and then they found out that I knew the judge. And I was all of a sudden not selected. But, you know, that's probably the best thing. If you know the judge, you shouldn't be on the jury. So anyway, I'm going to get out here. Everyone have a good one. Stay cool out there. It's going to be hot. Yesterday it hit pretty good temps, and today it's going to be a little cooler. But we'll see y'all next time. And yeah, hopefully y'all can be in an area where you can get to grow some of this big blue stem someday. Have a good one.